What do we call it? Beyond the Bias. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bias with Alex Reid, and it's time for another update with the CEO of Bowls New Zealand, Mark Cameron. So welcome to the podcast, Mark. We've got a medium-sized agenda to go through today by the looks.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those discussions where it's, I guess, focused at the administrators out there in club and centre land, as opposed to, learning some of the interesting stories about our bowls community and people within it. So, a little bit of mini today, but that's all right.
We're not saying switch off the podcast either.
No, we aren't. There are many
Stay
great
tuned.
and competent and confident and interested, hopefully, administrators out there that'll hopefully get some value out of some of these discussions.
Oh, great stuff. Well, we may as well start at the beginning, and the entries for these have been open for a while now and going well too, Mark, although I've said that I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the Somerset Nationals. Yeah, it is good. So Somerset Nationals, singles and pairs, open men's, open women's and open disability are in Canterbury, in Christchurch, January 2nd to January 9. So that's really exciting. Traditionally we get good numbers down there in Christchurch in the South Island, so look forward to that. Get your entries in now. Pretty sure entries close mid-December. Yeah, there's still time, but now's better than leaving it right to the last minute, which is what some people tend to do traditionally with that one.
Especially you locals down there in Canterbury, get your entries in. Should be a really good event once again. Hopefully it's not like Auckland. Hopefully it's sunny. And there is no rain or very little rain, so
I'm confident.
We look forward to those nationals, and equally, I see on Bowsub we've also got the fours and mixed pairs. The entries are open there as well, so that's based in Taranaki, 23rd of Feb to about the beginning of March, 29th of February. Leap year next year, if I recall rightly.
It is a leap year, yeah, that's correct.
So those entries are open now for the Somerset Nationals, fours and mixed pairs. So again, cobble together your teams, find someone to play in the mixed pairs. That should be a great event, and it's a pleasure to take it to Taranaki, because when we talk about the best greens, let alone clubs, but the best greens in the country, I may be getting a little bit controversial, or maybe putting a noose around my neck with it, but Canterbury and Taranaki traditionally produce the best natural greens in the country, so really looking forward to taking the Nationals to Taranaki in 2024.
And cool, is it it must be the third year we've had a mixed pairs component to the Open Nationals, Mark. How are we feeling about the progression of that event?
Well, we haven't heard of any divorces yet from the mixed pairs championship in terms of people's marriages, but the numbers now for the mixed pairs are bigger than the men's and bigger than the women's, and that just goes to show how popular the mixed pairs event is. We knew it was popular at centre level. We're seeing it now at the national level. So much so that we've now added to our Champa Champs calendar for 2024 a mixed pairs. So to go with the singles, pairs, triples and fours, we've now got 5 weekends in a row of bowls, National Championships bowls in July, and if I recall rightly, we take a break for school holidays in August, and then we run the mixed pairs and the fours at the back end of August, early September. So that's really exciting for our sport. And it just goes to show, where we're probably heading. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the concept of men playing against women or men playing with women was a little bit foreign. Now it's commonplace.
We were in a space 25, 30 years ago when our nationals, the men's and women's nationals, were literally held at different times and different places. So not only do we have a combined nationals nowadays, but with the mixed pairs, I think it's just a nice step forward.
Exactly, and I think let's segue now to the TV league, because we're I presume you'll get this out in the next day or two. This podcast,
current. It's a current podcast.
Excellent. So we had our first 2 nights of the Twilight Bowls League on Sky Sport, and I guess there's many conversations to have from this, but the first one I'd point to is the ladies one. Ladies one Tuesday night. With Amy and Kirsten out of Stoke and Nelson, and last night with Terry and Jenny. So maybe
there's a bit of work.
Yeah, men,
work to do over the next 5 weeks.
Well, men, you might need to step up a little bit more if you think that you are the better bowlers. So I think that's really cool. It's a great statement for our sport. Men playing against women, young playing old, and that's what we're trying to do with this TV league. So this TV league is not about showing the best of the best bowlers in the country. It is showing the non-bowler, so that Sky Sport audience, the non-bowler, a game of bowls that's short, sharp, fun, that can be played by their workmates, their mothers and fathers, their brothers and sisters, granddads, whoever it might be, and just acknowledge that. So you'll see in those pairings that we've created, we do have mother-daughter, we've got father-son, brother-sister. What have we got? We've got 2 grumpy old men, if I recall rightly.
That's not the, we called them, what did John Macbeth call them last night? Didn't even use veterans because I used veterans and I was told off for using veterans. In regards to Joe Edwards and Val Smith, I called them veterans, and I was given a look. I can't remember. Bowls lifers is what he called them. 2 bowls lifers.
Excellent. So, and we had a couple of young fellas there. We had Adam, who's was our world bowls deaf champion, gold medalist in the singles. So really trying to show that diversity and inclusion that our sport truly has. And if we get this right, and if this is seen on Sky Sport in the pubs and the clubs and on the TV sets, people see the game and they go, I quite like that. I like the short, sharp format. I like the fact that I can play with my mum and my sister. They will then go, hopefully, and join up a local Twilight Bowls League at a bowling club in Aotearoa. So we're not trying to drive from this. We're not trying to drive people into joining a club and playing Saturday and Sunday bowls. This is about driving that next generation of bowlers through the Twilight social business house space, and that's its objectives. We're kind of, it's in Royal Oak. Thank you, Bowls Royal Oak. Thank you, Sky TV, for the support. It's unashamedly, what do we call it? Auckland based.
I can cut this if you want me to. Do you want to answer?
No. It's your phone going off, so that's all right.
Okay, well, we'll just keep going. Yeah. Auckland based. That's where you were.
It's Auckland based. Look, we've the idea is if the league goes well, we will move it around the country. So Wellington, Dunedin, good examples using their covered facilities. And more than likely, in this pairings type format, that we will grab some local pairings out of the lower south or the Wellington central region as well, if the league goes well. But look, it's great to have it on TV. It does cost a lot of money, so we are trying to keep the costs down. What's really cool for the Bowls community is this, and that is that Bowls New Zealand, our crew, our team, our community, have produced the entire thing ourselves. So literally all Sky TV is just push a receive button at 6:30 on a Tuesday night or at 6:30 on a Wednesday night, and that's all they have to do, which is really cool for a sport. So there wouldn't be many sports, if any, in New Zealand and Aotearoa where produced in-house is a 6-week TV league.
It's pretty cool, and I think we talk often about how far we've come in a broadcast space, but I can remember in year 1 or 2 of Bowls 3.5 there was a conversation like what would it look like to produce a TV league, and it felt impossible at that stage. As so many things to manage as a broadcast group.
We have come so far. Like the 3.5 that we had 3 years ago, 4 years ago, was produced by Sky, and it cost a lot of money. Yeah, I don't mind saying here that and on air that this league for 6 weeks of TV, 2 nights a week, 3 hours, 2.5 hours a night, is costing us around $110,000. Now that includes the travel and the accommodation and the prize money, etc. as well. So that's a really cool endorsement of what we're doing, but we're being, I won't say frugal, that's not the word, but we're living within our means as well. So we're not going overboard with it. But the fact that we're able to produce this at such a small budget, I mean, most sports couldn't produce one day at that financial amount.
Yeah.
So that's really cool for us, and it sets us up really nicely for the future. So if we get this right, hopefully Sky and others will be interested in our content and our product, and we'll keep developing these things, as well as also selling in the Nationals and the Intercenters and the Bowls 3-5s and other events that we hold as well.
That's the thing. It's a world of possibility, isn't it? When you're in a space where you can produce your own content and it can be taken at a national level, anything could happen. And considering the fact we've spoken about it before, but so few bowls games were broadcast sort of between 2010 or 2005 and 2015 or 16. It was so hard to get any bowls available anywhere to watch. And now we have so many opportunities to watch it, including the 6-week league. I think it's fantastic.
Well, I think we do because we're able to produce the content. And that's the difference now, is that the reality is that there are very few broadcasters that are actually prepared to put up the dollars to produce as well. So the fact that we can produce our own content for YouTube, for Sky and for whoever else is the key to our success. Because it enables us, if I can keep going a little bit longer, but it enables us to show this diversity, inclusion, the modern components of bowls. Because whether we like it or not, there are still people in our community, in Aotearoa, who view bowls as granddad and his whites. The more we are able to broadcast and show diversity, show coloured bowls, show coloured clothing, show a diverse range of people playing, we dispel that.
Which is a fair reflection of what bowls is, isn't it? You look around and there are no whites. Black bowls are the minority, and everyone's playing. That's just what the sport is. Broadcast strategy. So we were talking broadcast strategy, Mark.
Yes.
Seconds ago.
Yes, we've done it, I think.
2024 internationals.
Yeah. So no World Champs, no Commonwealth Games in terms of internationals next year.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, it's a pleasure to welcome back the Trans-Tasman. So February, I'm going to go 2 till 4. It might be 3 till 5. Next year at the Nainai Bowling Club in Wellington, we will finally have a Trans-Tasman on home shore. So Australia, New Zealand, blackjacks, including our para bowlers, but also importantly, we've got a development men and development woman in there as well. So 10 best or thereabouts, best men, best women and para bowlers in New Zealand playing Australia on home soil. Hopefully the greens are running really fast.
As fast as we can get them.
And it's a windy day in Wellington, and we can take advantage of local conditions and knock those Australians off their perch.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds like a good plan. So with those 2024 internationals...
Look, I'll finish this off actually because I keep forgetting. So in November of 2024, we will have... the second edition of the Oceania Championships, which is really exciting. I think we had 8 to 10 international sides, men and women, in the first Oceania Championships in Auckland. So back in Auckland again in 2024, really exciting. And then the week after that, we will have the World Champ of Champs singles. So back on our home shores again. It was held last in Australia, and then prior to that was New Zealand at Nainai. So having that event, I think, is really exciting for us. And another one too, where we can broadcast and show not only the country but the world the game of bowls. I note with interest the World Champ singles is now 3 sets of 5 ends.
Yes.
Which is interesting. That's the way the world's going, and I'm hearing rumours that things like the Commonwealth Games will also head in that sort of direction of sets play. And a low number of ends.
So for those listening and they think, well, who makes these decisions? Is it how's that work? Is the decision making behind that, is it at a World Bowls level or what?
Yeah, it is. So World Bowls, but with the support of the broadcasters as well. So the broadcasters are looking for something that actually keeps the customer, the viewer, engaged. And the reality is that sets does. When you're just playing that one game and someone gets off to a ripper of a start and they're up 15-2, you can kind of go, well, that's not going to be
switch
exciting.
Off.
You switch off. That's not exciting bowls. But if they get off to that ripper start and win that first set, new set, fresh, hope it all starts again. So it just makes the game a little bit more exciting, and potentially shortens up the game as well. So that seems to be where we're heading with our sport. It hasn't quite got down to, shall we say, regional or club level yet, but I can see that happening in time, as that the sets format will become a big part of the game of bowls.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops, and looking forward to welcoming back the World Champion of Champions singles. Of course, and again, just to explain to those listening, you might be thinking, well, what is a World Champion of Champions singles? In New Zealand, it means our New Zealand singles winners are awarded an invitation mark to participate, and other countries find their own way of getting participants for that.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember the numbers last time, but I think it was something like 30 and men in 28 to 30 countries.
30-something, yeah.
Which is really cool. And we're seeing that in the sport. If you watch the World Champs recently in Australia, 44 countries taking part in bowls. And I don't know, I was a little bit naive to the fact that there were that many countries.
Yeah.
I kind of associate bowls with about 10 to 12 countries, but there were 44 countries, and I'd say there were probably 20 to 30 that were very competitive as well.
Yeah, biggest World Championships of all time, the most recently competed one. It's I think, a bright space after we've emerging from that sort of the little global pandemic that we had.
I haven't done a podcast yet on this, and a really successful World Champs for New Zealand too.
No, we haven't spoken about that. No, let's talk about the World Championships.
Taylor Bruce, superb, and what a great statement from her in terms of her ability on the bowls green, but a great statement for New Zealand as well, and our women's program. So really, really proud of Taylor. And then the women's team in general, first time since 1972.
Yeah, mid-70s. It was one of the first ever World Championships, was the first time we won.
I've got the trophy sitting in my office at the moment, actually. So first time that we've ever won the overall women's trophy since 1972. How cool is that for our sport? Thanks to the ladies. The men's have developed and grown. I picked up a bronze through the World Championship. And the para blackjacks, the ladies, Terry and Julie, gold medalists in the women's B6, B8. So, just a really cool World Championships. Biggest ever, as you said, and probably our most successful, I may be corrected on this, but our most successful away from New Zealand, offshore.
Yeah, right up there for sure. And it was nice to see a lot of New Zealanders travelled over the ditch to support the team as well, Mark, and most of them were kitted out in gear from the Bowls New Zealand online shop, I noted, but cool to see that sea of black, and it must have been neat for the athletes as well to sort of look up and you have a huge amount of support from Kiwis in Australia.
I don't really, I've been to a few international events now for bowls, but this was the one that stood out for me, where when you looked at the crowd, the New Zealand black and blue, I think we had a bit of blue in the shirts and uniforms, matched the yellow Australian supporters.
Yeah.
Generally we are, the Australians just dominate in Australia. We had a really strong presence, so like you, I'm really pleased with that. Segway,
yes.
Online shop.
Yep.
Young Sarah's been doing a fantastic job with the online shop. She's about to go out with a promotion in the next week or so. I think it's $600 for a set of Aero Optimas, $700 I think with a bag as well. So look out for that Christmas special. Sarah, the shop's ticking along quite nicely actually. We're not trying to make a lot of noise about this thing, but here is now an option for the bowlers to buy chalks, chalk sprays, measures, bowls, bags, apparel, whatever it might be, cloths, etc. And I think it's a welcome addition to the bowls community to almost complement what's happening locally within some bowling clubs where they do sell gear. But as you probably know as well, there's a heck of a lot of bowls clubs and the community in general who can't access bowls gear. So online shop, check it out, bowlsnewzealand.co.nz.
Brilliant.
Click the button.
Brilliant little advertisement there, Mark. That was better than what I was going to say.
Thanks.
And I was trying to find a way to segue into artificial greens and covered greens, but I've missed probably 3 or 4 opportunities. I could have done it when we were talking about Nai, so we may as well, Nai's a covered artificial, and we've got that on our list to talk about covered greens and artificial greens. So I'll claim that as a good segue.
Yeah, we keep talking about it. Look, whenever I talk to our strategy, I talk a lot about Twilight Bowls. I talk a lot about Bowsub and about our next big topic, which we're going to talk about in a second, which is Bowsub. But what's happening, led by the clubs in terms of facilities, is fantastic at the moment. Lots more artificial greens. Whether we like it or not, the natural greens, the numbers are dropping away. The reality there that clubs are finding is that with the amount of rain, especially in the North Island, spending that level of money, that resource to maintain a green for potentially only 4 or 5 months or 5 or 6 months of the year is just not justifiable. Whereas if they've got an artificial green, clearly it's all year round play. But more importantly, when it does rain on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Tuesday, you can generally get out after the shower has passed through.
Yeah.
So artificial greens are going really good. We endorse Field Turf, Tiger Turf, both good products, got both good woven carpet. So if you're interested in that, then contact Bowls New Zealand. Steve Beale is our key person there. And the other one we're seeing a lot of now is covered greens. So we had the pleasure with the Twilight Bowls League on Sky Sport to play under Royal Oak's new roof. There are roofs being developed around the country at the moment, predominantly those marquee style, the canopy style with the open sides or the drop-down sides. So that's really exciting for our sport because actually it takes the weather out of the equation almost entirely, unless it's a bitterly cold day with a frost. You can pretty much play bowls all year round. So that's, as I said, that's really exciting. What we are seeing now is that covered roof is not only about the rain and the rain side of things. It's also protecting people from the sun.
Yeah.
And increasingly that where we live, where our country is located on the planet, we need to be very mindful of the harm caused by the sun.
Be interesting to if we think about the number of clubs, and every year look, it seems to be clubs are sort of consolidating and putting either artificials or cover greens in. It must be a lot of investment over, if we look at our sport as a whole, into our things, our clubs and our greens and our facilities. It's quite cool to see, Mark.
Yeah, there's a heck of a lot of investment going in, but it is led by the clubs. So clubs are, there are people, appreciate the people in the clubs that are leading these conversations and going, actually, are we going to carry on doing the way we've done it for the past 100 years in terms of our facilities, or are we going to look forward? And looking forward now, I think, is understanding that you need greater utilisation out of those facilities. And when you talk about greater utilisation, you're not only talking about more groups using the facilities, but you're talking about the facilities being accessible more often, hence carpet and having a covered facility.
Yeah, which is perfect. And it's not a good segue, because, again, I'm not good with the segues at this podcast, but our next big topic, Mark, Bowsub and a grading system.
Yeah, well, we talk about this just about every time we have a chat, but it's important just to keep the community across where we're heading with it. So Bowsub now, I think Colin's got somewhere between 12 and 15 centres now utilising Bowsub.
And I think we've passed the 5,000 mark when it comes down to members of it as well, which is a very impressive.
Excellent.
That's a huge number.
I think that's the Sport New Zealand KPI for this project.
So, cool.
So brilliant. What we're doing is we're using Bowsub for competition management and database. We've been using it at national level for 2 years now, 18 months, 2 years. We're now sifting it or moving it down into the centre level. So a lot of centres now are using Bowsub for their centre events. And what Bowls New Zealand is offering is that we will help prepare the draws, take the entries, etc., whatever is required to get Bowsub being used out in the community. The beauty about Bowsub, and I keep repeating it, is that, albeit it's a nice competition management system, it gives us a database. So when you want to do something simple like change the green for tomorrow morning from a natural to an artificial, you can quickly send out an email to everyone that's entered. Done, tick. Which is really, really important, because in the past it's been a little bit of a mismatch of putting up posts on Facebook
it gives me PTSD to think about, Mark. There's been some challenging times.
Yep. So that database is really cool. The evolution, though, and this is the thing that I'm quite excited about this summer, is that we're going to beta test, whatever it might be, a grading system. We're following the squash system for this one. What we're doing is we're taking all the results out of Bowsub. So every game of bowls that you, Alex Reid, plays, we will then take those games, knowing who you played against as well, and develop a grade for you. So do we think you're a B2 bowler and you're sitting on 1,850 points, or are you an A1, or are you a D2, or whatever it might be? And it'll create a nice conversation. 50% of the bowls community will connect in with this and think this is really cool, but there'll be a number within the community that actually go, nah, that's not for me. I don't need to worry about what my grades are or how I'm going that regard. But what we're doing is, by this grading, is that we're giving some meaning to every game that you play. So when you're out there and you're playing a game of pairs, and it may have no consequence, i.e. you're not going to make tomorrow's finals, or whatever it might be. The fact that you're playing for some grading points in your pairs game actually gives some meaning to not only the game, but to you as a player as well. So are you improving? Are you not improving? Like, I couldn't tell you now whether I'm improving or not, because often it's based around my performance within a 4. And I can't, within that 4, I don't determine solely the outcome. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where this one heads. I think it's a 5 to 10 to 15 year project before we really nail it and be really comfortable with it. But we've got to start somewhere, and this is about the change that we're undergoing as a sport.
It strikes me as a nice solution too, because New Zealand is one of the only countries in the world that talks about junior bowlers, and when we say junior bowlers, we mean between 1 and 3, 1. But we invented that system 40 years ago when there wasn't really a Twilight Bowls or Business House Bowl situation. And now we have a world, Mark, and it's a bugbear of mine, but we have a world where our junior system doesn't function brilliantly, because you have people who play for 5-10 years at Twilight Bowls level, which is fantastic, and they come into our sport, and we have events that we call junior events, and the ability level, or the disparity, first year bowlers, there's a huge ability gap between the ones who might have just wandered in and gone, I'll give this a go, and perhaps ones who have either natural talent or play at a Twilight level where they're not a full member. If we have a grading system, it strikes me as a great solution, because we could go, well, we'll just run a grading, this is a tournament for grades, blah.
Yeah. You're entirely right, and without creating too much shock or an alarm out there, but the grading system will replace the junior classification. The grading system will enable us to play a tournament this weekend for D and E grade bowlers, or a tournament where you can only have one A or B grader in your triple or your 4, and so on. You're entirely right. We have players that have played 10 years of Twilight Bowls, and they come along and they are first year bowlers. And they're playing against people who are genuine first-year bowlers as well. So this grading thing will change the way we think about juniors for sure.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a really good idea, and as you say, there'll be lots of conversations, and that's good. I think it's not a bad thing. So we're going Bowsub, grading. Is there anything else you
want? Last one is just we are making a big play over the next 3 years in that sort of in the youth space. So Tamariki Rangatei. Tamariki, we're looking to, these are our primary intermediate kids, is looking to really grow them into the sport through indoor bowls. You'd be pleased with that. Everyone should play indoor bowls, shouldn't they, Alex?
They absolutely should, yeah.
It's good for their development of the game. So indoor bowls, which enables us, importantly, to take indoor bowls into schools. So we are making we have got some good plans in this space, and really to give kids an awareness of bowls and indoor bowls. And at the rangatahi level, at the secondary school level, same thing. Ideally we would try and get them into clubs to play their bowls, but for the next few years, it's to actually get into the schools, play them on those artificial tennis courts or hockey fields or even indoors as well, and give them that taste of bowls so that they see bowls, they see it on TV, they see that dad or mum or granddad or whatever is playing, and they go, actually, that was quite cool. So making a really big push in this tamariki rangatahi space. We're blessed at the moment at an international level. We've got a lot of what I'll describe as youth, players in their 20s. Taylor, Selena are good examples of this, Caitlin as well. Now it's time to develop that next generation as well and make sure that there are ones coming through that have this taste of bowls, and hopefully they enjoy that taste and they go, geez, I'd like to be the next Commonwealth Bowls champion or world champion. I'd like to play on that TV league on Sky or whatever it might be. And I think that's really exciting. It's probably something through the COVID years we've neglected, the secondary school space especially. So a real opportunity to get that youth program back up and going as well.
Oh, it all sounds... That's good, Mark.
Thanks for your endorsement.
Well done. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. And you said
that's good. Is that the best you've got?
Yeah, that's good. That's
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Known for my communication skills, obviously. But no, it's been a good chat just to give an update, a general update. There's probably another one coming before Christmas, or will the next time I talk to you be after Christmas time?
Yeah, I don't know. We're in November, so I'd hate to say Merry Christmas now. That feels all right.
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to push it too much for the Merry Christmas early.
Look, Alex, I appreciate it, and probably more so I appreciate the community, the energy, the enthusiasm. What's happening with our sport right now is really, really cool. The fact is that we have we have growth in numbers, growth in facilities. Our broadcast is going from strength to strength. This whole Twilight Bowls, social bowls phenomenon is really taking hold. The perception of our sport out there is changing. And it ain't Bowls New Zealand. It isn't really our centres. It's people within our clubs who are changing, who are prepared to step up and try different things, and that's really cool for our sport. Really, really encouraged and just blessed to be part of this community, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, that's close enough to a Merry Christmas. So thank you, Mark, for joining me on this episode of Beyond the Bias with Alex Reid. Stay tuned. It's a sporadic podcast, it's fair to say, but we try and keep things interesting. So stay tuned, and the next one will be at some point. Is that specific enough?
No. Okay. The next one will be by the end of November.
By the end of November.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk then.
Excellent. Not me.
No.
Yeah.
I was talking about me and the audience will be fine. Everything's fine.